don't you let me in, oh baby?
Welcome, everyone, to Very Friends Podcast. My name is Isaiah.
My name's Eric.
And if you are new with us, welcome. We're excited that you are joining us. We are a sports podcast, usually two friends, sometimes more. And we'll talk NBA, Celtics. We'll dabble in other sports, other genres of sports. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about. But first things first, Eric, you're talking to your good buddy here, Ed Sheeran, and there's a comment. You ask him a question and then he responds. If we want to dive into that, let's do that right off the bat.
Definitely. So for those who don't know, in my free time, I enjoy being a songwriter, writing songs. And Ed Sheeran is my favorite musical artist, favorite songwriter. I've seen him perform at Gillette Stadium, 2 years ago. And the other day I was on Instagram and I asked him a question. I said, "What's your advice for working through songwriter's block?" And he responded. And he told me that, you've got to work through the bad days. He did swear a couple times, but you got to work through the bad days to get to the good. He said, "Dare to be bad."
Yeah.
And that really resonated with me. I appreciate the advice. I actually hadn't written any songs for almost a year now. And after getting that message, literally 24 hours after, I wrote my next song for my album.
Wow.
It's called Dare.
Okay.
So it was, directly inspired by Ed Sheeran. It's just a message of, not being afraid to suck, putting yourself out there. And I say it has more of a country Post Malone vibe to it. So I'm looking forward to sharing that in the future and appreciate Ed Sheeran's response to that. Really appreciate that.
That's awesome. It's great that you found inspiration to immediately write a single, your next song. That's really cool. And for those who don't know, Eric is artist. His title is E Wreckage. He dabbles into other, like, a good amount of genres. There's usually, actually, I could put it up right here real quick. He has a few albums: Eccentric, Ruby, Iconic. And do we have a title for the newest one?
Yep. So the new title is going to be, I don't know if I said it right.
Yeah.
Caste Mundial.
Caste Mundial. Whoa! Congrats, man. Congrats. Now that means something, right? That has a specific meaning.
Yeah. So it used to be my brand of deodorant.
Yes, that's right.
And I translate it, and it actually means world class.
World class, yeah.
So,
okay.
I'm rolling with that. I like it. And I've already started working on my album cover. And, I've got Dare done, and I've got another song called Snow Globe. So you guys have that to look forward to.
Love it.
And I will say, me and Ed Sheeran, you got Jason Tatum and Kobe Bryant in the NBA. I really feel like it's kind of that, mentorship, superstar relationship going on,
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, congrats again on the work that you are doing. Hopefully it continues, and you continue to grow as an artist and as a person. Real quick, happy belated Thanksgiving as well to everyone. Hopefully, everyone's Thanksgiving was great. Had good conversations, great food. I know maybe some people may have Black Friday as a higher holiday than Thanksgiving, but in either case, happy belated Thanksgiving. Real quick, how was your Thanksgiving, Eric?
It was pretty solid. I was in Connecticut with Sodi. I visited her aunt and that family.
Yeah.
So it was a good time. We had turkey, watched a lot of football, went out to eat at a restaurant afterwards.
Nice.
For a little, they danced a little bit, and then had breakfast the next morning. So pretty eventful and pretty fun.
Great. That's awesome. Yeah, I was with a family friend who, spoiler, will be a guest in our next episode. Spencer Berryman is a great guy. Went to his parents' house and just had a good time. Just ate, talked, watched a little YouTube, some SNL. So it was fun. Had a good Thanksgiving.
Did you do any Black Friday shopping?
No, I did not. I'm not really a shopper, so I just. Yeah, not my thing. Not my thing.
Yeah, I guess while we're on the air, right? Anything for the Christmas list going? Or?
I do have a Christmas list. I do. I send it to my family
because I know a lot of our viewers are family. So
yeah, I know. Yeah. Actually, a BMW X3 M5 edition. That'd be nice. No, yeah, they already know the family. So there we go. All right, let's get into content. Let's get into our breaking news. Always start out with breaking news. This isn't really, I guess, breaking news. Well, he's an emerging star, I will say, in the league. And I don't really like to say that as as a Celtics fan talking about a Laker, but he's a rookie. His name's Dalton Connect. He was, I think, pick 17 in this this past draft. He was not drafted higher due to his age. And sources from Bleacher Report were saying that apparently scouts don't like NBA players or prospects who are older in age. I didn't really look at more of the details, but I don't know if that's just because of that they can't develop them and they're already like at a later stage of their career. I don't know. But there's that. But right now he's doing fantastic. He has a 41% 3-point percentage this season and has tied a rookie record for 9 threes in one game this season. So Eric, I want to ask you, is he the rookie of the year favorite right now? I know it's early. But is he the rookie of the year favorite as of today?
I'm gonna be honest. This draft class, I'm gonna say in years to come, is gonna be considered to be like a bust overall. Yeah.
That's tough.
But what I will say is I am buying into the Dalton hype. I think he's a great player.
Yeah.
I think he's an amazing addition to the Lakers, especially I think he's 19 years old.
Okay.
So I think that's amazing what he's doing at his young age. And I also have you listed Jared McCain here as another standout. And I like Jared McCain's vibe. He came in as a good college player / TikTok star.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's risen to the occasion of coming on this team who has Joel Embiid and other great players and really just taking on a leadership role already so early.
Yeah.
So I want to give him a shout out as well.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely notable. I have other notables here. I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right, but Steven Castle from the Spurs, Jalen Wells from the Grizzlies, and of course, Connect. But Jared McCain is averaging like 6 points per game, something like that, around 16 points per game. Carrying more of the 76ers right now than Embiid, right? I don't know because I'm not really tuned into these rookies that much this year partly because this class hasn't been that great. But I will be keeping an eye on Connect and also Zach Edey, Zachy, right? Or no,
I think, whatever. Something.
I know
like that.
Edey. It's Edey. I know definitely know his last name.
Yep.
Edey. Apologize if it's not the first name, but Edey is doing pretty good. I think he's averaging around 10 points per game on the Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies are surprisingly doing pretty good. Yeah, right now we'll see how it goes. Again, early, but just some notables. We'll see how Connect goes moving forward. Some other breaking news: LaMelo Ball, some injury news. LaMelo Ball is out at least 2 weeks with a calf strain, and also Ben Simmons is injured with a left knee contusion. Obviously, the more significant injury in terms of the impact of their team is LaMelo Ball with the Hornets. And I know we just had Justin on. He's a big Hornets fan, so I'm sure that's pretty devastating for him. But it doesn't seem like it's going to be that long, so I'm sure they'll be able to rebound and come back for sure.
I'm going to be honest. I feel like LaMelo Ball is the Charlotte Hornets. Like, without him, I feel like, the Hornets are not going to win any more games.
Yeah.
And I know even with him on the team, like, they're struggling to make the playoffs. But the fact that they don't have Ball right now, like, those 2 weeks that he's out, they have to really, group together and try their best. Especially with, I don't know how the NBA Cup's going right now. We'll talk about that later.
Yes.
But honestly, at Ben Simmons, like, at this point, he doesn't deserve any media attention. Like, he's washed. He's done.
Yeah. It is a little sad, I will say. He's definitely was overrated where he got drafted. But the whole process and with the 76ers, and it was going to be this big thing, definitely took a nosedive. And now he's trying to be a role player. Maybe he's still a starter for the Nets because the Nets, who do they have? But yeah, it's a little sad, and he just can't shoot.
I don't know if you've seen the memes over the summertime.
Yeah,
where it's like it's a cycle. Ben Simmons gets hurt, he sits out most of the season. He works out, gets super jacked over the summer, and then he's like, "Oh, great things to come."
Yeah,
and then like a week later, he gets injured. And the cycle repeats like every year.
Yeah. I've seen a few memes. I saw one where he just was taking like 7 shots and he missed all of them in practice. So it's tough. It's tough sledding for Simmons. Hopefully, best for him. Obviously, injury it sucks, but yeah, we'll see where we go with him. And last breaking news: some women's college basketball updates. Juju Watkins, Eric, you've been a proponent since this day one of this new season that Juju's going to be this outstanding player when she comes into the WNBA. I mean, she's outstanding right now in college basketball. She just made history. She just she scored 34 points on November 13th, and she became the fastest Trojan. She plays for Southern California. She scored 1,000. Sorry, she was the second. She had the second fewest games for scoring 1,000 points in women's college basketball history. That's from ESPN. Really huge. She's doing great. She's gonna be one of the best.
Yeah.
It looks like right now.
I think the only question really is if Juju Watkins would rather stay in college all 4 years and I think have a chance at making like history, possibly on her pace passing Caitlin Clark, or if she wants to hop on right now and go right into the WNBA. And I feel like right now, where you have the new college incentives where it's now legal to make money off of your, athletic self in college.
Yeah.
She probably will wait the 4 years. Obviously, in the past, like it would have been like, hey, if you want to make money, you kind of have to jump now. But I think she can take her time and wait.
For sure. Yeah. She as good as she is, it doesn't hurt to continue to develop and just work on the things that she needs to work on, and then she'll be ready for WNBA, and their team, I'm sure, will be balling.
Yeah,
they'll be fantastic.
But no doubt, I see that like Caitlin Clark, Juju Watkins rivalry, like it's brewing right now.
Yes,
like it's not there yet, but this is like the prequel. Like we're just getting started.
Oh yeah, once their teams get to ascend and get there, they're gonna be good. They're gonna be good to watch.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to transition into our main NBA segment. We're gonna give Celtics update. Honestly, one of the producers mentioned this. It's going to be hard to find content, I feel like, with this team moving forward, just because they're so good. They are so good. And, unless it's injuries or Joel Mazzulla does absolutely something insane, which he is it could not very likely, but is a possibility in the realm. This team is so good. 17-4 right now, second in the Eastern Conference. Lost to the Cavs on Sunday, but we didn't have Derek White or Jaylen Brown. So, there's that. We just got back Porzingis, though. And right now he's averaging, 19 points per game, 7 rebounds, and 50% from the field. I'm not scared of anyone. Although, I do have a question, Eric, for you. Is there do you have a scariest team for this Celtics team, either in the East or the West or both?
I'm going to say in the East. I know they just lost to the Cavaliers. But like you said, we were out 2 of our starters. So I think the full strength Celtics could beat the full strength Cavaliers. So honestly, the East, I know we're packed with a lot of really good mid-upper level teams like the Knicks, Cavaliers, Heat. Sixers not really so much anymore, but we have a lot of good talent in the East. But the West, of course, is always been stacked. And there's a lot of options they could face up against if they went to the finals. One of them, I think they could get a challenge from is the Denver Nuggets.
Okay.
And that's simply from the fact that, we have Nikola Jokic. We got, a leadership in Russell Westbrook as well. They've got their supporting cast. But I just feel like they haven't really been tested by that lineup just yet. And when Celtics do play Nuggets, I've got to see how that dynamic plays out this season.
For sure. And we're going to get into early MVP conversation and power rankings. But Jokic he is absolutely phenomenal. He is the scariest player in the league. I know we had a segment about who's the scariest player. He's the scariest. No one can stop him. He no athleticism. He's amazing. So that is scary in of itself when playing against the Nuggets. But I got one. I got one from the West. And I guess the East, but I'm not really worried about anyone in the East. I got the Thunder. I just think they are young. They are super talented. And I think they match up with us pretty well if they are fully healthy. Because right now, I think Chet Holmgren is still out for a certain amount of time. I'm not 100% sure how long, but with SGA, with Chet Holmgren, with the Williams, there's like 3 of them. There's like 3 Williams.
You're right. Yeah.
They got a really star-studded team, and they don't even have Alex Caruso yet healthy. And they just got back Harkenstein. I think he was injured for a little bit. They're scary, in my opinion. I would watch out for the Thunder as well. And, for some reason, for the East, I initially had the Heat. And that was, I'm just gonna put that for myself. We just blew them out. We just blew them out last night. I don't know, 20, 30 points. I was just thinking about, in the past, and even the Warriors I thought about because we had that finals, confrontation, and they beat us, and they beat us this year. So, there's kind of that stigma with the Warriors and the Celtics. But really, it's only the Cavaliers. They're just really talented and have been doing super well this year. But again, I'm not really worried about the Cavs. I'm not worried about anyone in the East. I think we should, no matter if we're a top 3 seed or for some reason we get to a 4th, 5th seed, we're gonna go through if we're healthy.
It was actually funny. Our full starting lineup the other day against the Heat, like they were questionable or out. So like there was a chance that we could have had an entire game of just our bench. So my question is, like, if we do progress through this NBA season, and let's just say a player happens to get a season-long injury, at one point when you start panicking, like let's say, for example, if Tatum got injured for the full season, would you be panicked? If it was Jaylen Brown and Tatum, would you be panicked? Like, at what point would you hit the panic button?
This is for if there were certain injuries or...
Yeah. So I got the starting lineup. Like, at what point do you hit that panic button?
Yeah, I mean, Payton Pritchard has been great, okay? Like, he's been, right now, looks like 6th man of the year potential. But if you had him consistently in the lineup, whether it's for Derek White or Drew Holiday, or, I mean, this guy, Drew Peterson, who I didn't even know about until this last game, he was making a lot of minutes. If I start seeing him in the lineup, for whatever reason, I would be concerned. So, I think, I don't know, there's just so much, like a combination of players we can have for a starting lineup on this team that... If we have Brown, I think we're fine. If we don't have Brown, I think we're fine. If we don't have Tatum, I think we're fine. If we don't have, now I feel like I'm going to get down a rabbit hole. But if we don't have Derek White and Horford, we may be fine. I feel like we can make it with the certain combinations. But I don't want to go there. Want to stay healthy and want to be good. So
gotcha.
That's kind of where I'm at with Celtics.
Yeah, I feel like one of our stars could go down, and we have someone who will jump in and take their place. Like,
yes,
perfectly fine. For me, I feel like the limit's like 2 or 3, because obviously we manage very well with Porzingis. But say that Tatum goes down, who's a power forward, and then that ruins the whole dynamic of our situation. So I just feel like if there gets to be 2, 3, obviously 4 is dramatic, but at that point, I feel like a little bit worried.
For sure. But yeah, right now, like I've been saying on Barely Friends podcast, the only way we can get being is by ourselves. It's by ourselves, okay? That's it. The only way we can be is ourselves. Let's move on to the NBA Cup updates. We've got probably similar standings. I don't think much has changed. In the East, we have the Orlando Magic, followed by the Bucks, followed by the Hawks, followed by the Pistons. And then in the West, we have the Rockets, followed by the Warriors, followed by the Spurs, and then the Mavs with a wild card spot. Eric, do you have any favorites for this NBA Cup? Any winners? Any team that's going to be most likely to win it all?
Yeah. So I will have to see what the bracket looks like first before making a very determinate winner. I know that's really going to come down to some tough matchups in the I think it's the round of 8. But in general, I might be stealing your answer, but I covered the Houston Rockets for 2 years when they were just the lowly team who was tanking. And now they've turned into something that I think is really special with Segun and Jalen Green and all those guys. And I see them as a possibility to win this tournament as this up-and-coming team. And I feel like that's what the NBA Cup is, the spirit of having a team that is mid-level and will reach that pinnacle of experiencing, championship success. I count it as like half a ring, but I feel like they're there. I feel like they're at a half a ring level.
Yeah, I remember that half a ring, conversation we had last season. We'll talk about that another time. But yeah, for me, it's also the Rockets. I will say that they are probably the most talented team with Segun, with Jalen Green, and others. Fred VanVleet. They have just a superior team, and their coach. Their coach is really good as well, a former Celtic. And now, for some reason, I'm blanking on his name. Eric, remind me.
Ime Udoka.
Ime Udoka.
Yeah.
He had issues. Okay, he had
antics.
Yeah, I mentioned the car. Antics. But he is basketball speaking a great coach. So they got a great roster. I'm gonna go Rockets, but I have a surprise party, Eric. You probably didn't see this coming. I have a sleeper who could win the NBA Cup for you. And it's the Detroit Pistons. Okay, it's Detroit Pistons. It is, just their look. I look, they're 500 team. Okay, they're in the wild card spot. I read an article about the coach and about their mentality about winning this thing and about wanting to prepare for each NBA Cup game specifically, and like they were making sure they wanted to win. So just based off prep, just based off this coach's mentality. I don't know if the Pistons can do it. We talk about mid-level teams wanting to elevate. Pistons are the middest of the mid teams. Okay,
Yeah.
They are mid-level. So that is my sleeper. But yeah, Rockets definitely my team.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like I said, I know last season we said that Pistons are literally the worst team in the league. So I think that if they do win this cup, I would consider it the same for them, like a championship win. Like there's the amount of hardships and the amount of failures they had to overcome to get to that point is amazing.
yes,
And I feel like if they do win, it'll be an amazing momentum boost. Because I feel like in general, human psychology, you start to get a little bit of these small wins and they pile up. I feel like it really transformed the identity of the team and really give them what they need.
absolutely. Good for the Pistons. Good for them. Maybe they've already won more than last year. Maybe
3 games.
Three. I don't know. Maybe they've won more than they already have. Or last season or the season before, I forget. It was like a record low. I don't remember, but hopefully they have, and good for them. And we'll see. NBA Cup. You and Justin were talking last week, and I think for me, it kind of was like, oh yeah, this is important for teams that don't get attention, don't get love, or haven't in recent years because they just haven't played well, and now they can show who they are and get attention. So
Yeah,
there
I
we
guess
go.
the Lakers aren't the best example, but if you remember, it was the Lakers and the Indiana Pacers who played last time. So yeah, just like you said before, I feel like the Pacers are a market where right now they have Tyrese Halliburton and they're able to make the playoffs, and I think they were just in the Eastern Conference Finals. But generally, they don't get that same love that the Lakers have been getting, or a team like the Celtics or Knicks or another big market.
For sure.
So,
For sure.
thumbs
Yeah.
up.
Definitely. Good analogy there. Good analogy there. All right. We're going to move on into looking at early power rankings and early MVP predictions. So we're going to go back to our predictions, to what we said first couple episodes of the season, and see how we've done so far. Okay. See how we've done so far. So right now, let's see. So I'm going to start with, we're going to do power rankings first. And I'll go with my top teams first, and then I'll say your top teams, and then we'll go for the power rankings, and we'll talk a little bit, and then we'll do MVP. So let's start power rankings. I start off with the Celtics, number 1, followed by the Nuggets, number 2, followed by the Thunder, number 3, then the Timberwolves, then the Mavericks / the Knicks, because I couldn't figure it out. So we're going to go Mavericks / Knicks there. Eric, you had also the Celtics, number 1, also the Celtics, number 1, number 2, number 3, the Nuggets, number 2, Timberwolves, number 3, Knicks, number 4, and Bucks, number 5. Now, here's what the current power rankings look like. Again, very early, but just very interesting to look at. Number 1, Cleveland Cavaliers. Okay, this was updated on NBA.com yesterday. So this is up to date. Number 1, Cleveland Cavaliers. Number 2, Boston Celtics. Number 3, Houston Rockets. Houston Rockets up there. Number 4, Oklahoma City Thunder. And number 5, Dallas Mavericks. First, any takeaways, Eric, from what you had initially and what's there now for power rankings?
Yeah, I mean, Cleveland at number 1 is definitely surprising.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'd say that, of course, pops out as the biggest thing on this list. I am surprised that, I guess Bucks not being included and Knicks are iffy. Timberwolves also at this point iffy.
Mhm.
But Nuggets, I feel like, should be on this list. And not necessarily, I wouldn't say right now maybe, but I see the Nuggets as climbing up that ladder and being top 3 in the West by the end of the season. Like, I say no way that they're not a top 3 seed. So yeah, Thunder, they were number 1 last season in Dallas. I know they were just in the finals, but to me, Dallas is one of those teams where they make the finals and then they, kind of burn out, and I see them dipping down. So
Okay.
for me, the biggest surprise is, of course, Houston, Dallas, and, of course, Cavaliers.
Yeah, I agree with you for all those. Rockets didn't see coming. Cavs absolutely did not see coming. The whole Timberwolves Knicks thing, I think maybe, I'll speak for myself, I won't speak for you, but the whole trade between both those teams and seeing what Cat to the Knicks and Julius Randle and DiVincenzo to the Wolves, we were like, oh, these teams already, were ascending. Now they're just going to be, continuing that. And not that I mean, the Timberwolves, I have actually, they're number 16. So they're below, you know, a very below what expectations were, you know, are expected for this team. The Knicks, I think, are definitely better. They're between like a top or 10 or rankings of 10 and 15. But I definitely expect the Timberwolves to be back in the contention for a top 3-4 Western Conference team. And I don't know what the reason is. I don't know. They just blew out the Lakers last night. I think that was an NBA Cup game. It could be wrong, but they just blew them out. I don't know if it's behind the scenes in the locker room. I don't know if it's just chemistry still not, you know, melding together. I don't know. That's definitely interesting. I got to see them. Maybe they aren't a top 3 Western Conference team this year, but they got to make it. They're not going to be a playing team. The Timberwolves aren't going to be a playing team in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really watch many Timberwolves games, and I know they don't really get televised very much. But of course, you saw the Julius Randle trade, and theoretically, I thought that Timberwolves would get better from this trade because they got Randle, who's about the same skill set as Cat,
Yeah,
and also gained DiVincenzo. So when you add another role player to that, I feel like it would, on paper, it would add more to the roster. But it looks like, yeah, like you said, it might be chemistry. I know that a year or two ago with the Dallas Mavericks, people were saying that Kyrie Irving to the Mavs was a bit of a flop, but then we saw a year later they got this chemistry and started working together.
right.
So
right.
I feel like maybe it's just time that they need to cook in the pot together. Get some time to gel.
For sure. Yeah, it'll come in time. I think it'll come in time for this team. They're too talented to not be better than where they're at now. So, and then let's go into MVPs right now. My top 3, Jokic being number 1, Jason Tatum number 2, and Luka Doncic number 3. Where you had Luka Doncic number 1, Nikola Jokic number 2, and Giannis number 3. And a little bit of a surprise here. A little surprise. Current MVP race so far: number 1, Jokic; number 2, Jason Tatum; number 3, Anthony Davis. Why are you laughing, Aaron? Why is that so funny to you?
Very serious. Very serious.
Yeah. Anthony Davis number 3, number 4, Giannis, and number 5, SGA, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. No Luka Doncic. I don't know why. I did these, I was working on these notes. I didn't even realize he's not even in, and yet the Mavs are top 5 power. Yeah. How do you feel about that, Eric?
Yeah. So of course I picked Luka as my MVP for this season. Of course, still very early.
Possible, yes.
Yeah, and yeah, the reason why I left Anthony Davis is he is a good player, but he just hasn't reached that level of like top 5 for years now. And part of it too is I know he gets injured and then he falls off. But yeah, honestly, that's a big surprise for me. Anthony Davis at number 3, and it's not because he's a bad player. Once again, I just don't see him as that consistent force. And Tatum, for him, it's a fact of he's sharing the ball with 4 other stars / superstars. So I feel like for him to be able to get number 2 on such a talented team, definitely shows a good thing for him. But I think it's gonna be very hard for him to stay at the number 2 position with so much talent.
Sure, I'll give you those 2 player stats right now, real quick. Tatum right now is averaging 28.4 points per game, 8 rebounds, and 5.6 assists per game. Anthony Davis has 27.8 points per game and 11 rebounds per game. I don't see it as I definitely see it more sustainable for Jason Tatum than Anthony Davis, even though he has all the talent around him, just because, I mean, he's just that good. He's just that talented. Anthony Davis, I mean, I don't want to bring up injury, but I'm going to bring up injury. He could be down at any moment. I feel like with him, as he's aging and as he's had prior injuries, but I mean, if the Lakers want to succeed this year, Anthony Davis is going to have to be MVP. Like, he's going to have to play like this. They're not winning at all if he's not playing like this. So yeah, I definitely see Tatum definitely more likely than AD. AD being number 3, not even like 5. He's 3 over Giannis, SGA, Luka is very surprising. I didn't expect that.
Yeah. Is there another player you see who could possibly break the top 5 that's not currently in it? And obviously we talked about Luka, but someone besides Luka.
Yeah. I don't have the stats for Curry. Okay. I don't have the stats, and I know he's, losing his prime because of his age, but Warriors right now are a top 3 seed, I think, in the West still. And I'm sure majority of that is on his shoulders. It's not on Draymond Green's. I don't think Draymond with his character can be hurtful or not, but Draymond is contributing. But with Steph, the only way I see them being this good is because Steph Curry right now is being this good. And so off the top of my head, I would say Curry is probably one of my outliers for being MVP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe it could be, like you said, they have a pretty good record right now. So yeah, Curry has to, elevate. I see as a good supporting cast of role players.
Yeah.
Like you said, Draymond Green's in there too. But really, at this point in his age, Curry is still the top player for the Warriors. So yeah, it is possible he could be 5. I don't know if he might be the top 10 right now, maybe.
Sure.
So
Sure.
just don't know.
Yeah. And one really quick sleeper, Sagoon from the center from the Rockets, only because where they're at number 3, he's a baby Jokic. He's just really talented, super young. He could be a very deep sleeper. I have him up there. All right, let's transition now into fantasy football. Guys, I gotta tell you, this league this year is uber competitive. It is so deep. It's crazy. This will probably be the main statistic will show why it's so deep. No team has clinched the playoffs. No team has clinched the playoffs right now. By now, there should be at least 2 or 3 teams who have clinched. We have one more regular season game, and then playoffs. No one has clinched it yet. Here's the standings. My dad, number 1. I'm 5. Ty's 6. Eric's 9th. Doesn't matter rankings per se. All of us can make it to the playoffs. All of us. Certain scenarios have to happen, but this league this year has been absolutely incredible. It's been a fun league for sure. My team, I could go on and on. I've talked about it. I won't today. Next episode, we'll see how I feel if I make the playoffs or not. You'll get a different version of me with my team. But it's been fun. It's been really fun and a good league to be a part of, I would say.
Yeah, and from a non-GM's perspective as well, from a non-commissioner's perspective, I had a lot of fun in this league as well. And the fact that I'm 9th and on the brink of making the playoffs, adds a lot of excitement to the end of the season.
Yep.
And definitely looking forward to competing for that last week.
Yep.
Yep. Oh, and I will say too, in my other league that I'm in, my uncle's for the football pool, I picked the Browns last night to win.
Oh.
And
no.
Yeah, the thing is though, if they lost by like 4 points, I still would have won the game.
Okay.
And Jameis Winston threw a touchdown. Well, he didn't throw a touchdown. He threw a interception.
Right.
At the 2-yard line.
Right.
Yeah. And that would have secured the game for me. The win.
Yeah, that was an absolutely insane game. If you didn't watch it, Broncos Browns, a crazy game. But yeah, every team that can be eligible right now, like the top 10 teams in our league, are 2 games away from each other. I mean, just insane, absolutely insane. So fun time. Quick fantasy update. Next time we'll be in the semifinals. Next episode. So we'll see. We'll see where everything goes from here. Let's transition into our What in the World segment. Now, Eric, if you don't mind, I'll kick things off because I know I want to give you the floor with what you have to say. This is an update for all of us. But we're gonna go into a different sport here, a totally different realm. And I just want to bring up a soccer team that has just started in the USL Championship League. They made it to the championship this year. They didn't win it. But this team is local. And they're Rhode Island FC. RIFC. Usually in One in the World, usually it's this crazy statistic or, kind of wacky thing that we'll do. This is more of like, wow, what an accomplishment this team has done. This is the first season that this has happened in 8 years where someone in the USL Championship has made it to the championship in their first season, a part of the league. So absolutely incredible. Another notable mentions, forward Noah Fuzan, I hope I said that right, was atop the league in assists. He was number 1 out of everyone in the league. And then the largest victory in the whole league was against Messi's Miami FC. How about them apples? Okay, how about that? All right. 8-1. 8-1. They scored 8 goals against Messi's team. They weren't that great, I don't think, this year, but still an accomplishment. So props. And actually, I know a little bit. One of the strikers on the team. His name's JJ, and I'm hoping to get him a guest on here to talk about his experience and all that. So, but what a season, what a year for this team.
Yeah, it's awesome. And like you said, they're Rhode Island based. If I'm correct, they might be playing at Sal Virginia or at another college in Rhode Island.
Yes. I'm blanking out. It's not Salve. It's
Roger Williams.
Nope, not Roger. Keep going.
You all right?
Not you. Not you. All right.
PC.
Oh my gosh. Nope.
I mean, Rhode Island's it's only so big. It's like
I know it is. It is tiny. There's a lot of colleges there though. Oh my gosh.
RISD?
I went there.
Brown.
I literally nope. Oh my gosh. That's a little crazy. I can't blanking out. Anyway,
A place in Rhode Island.
they have a new stadium. They're having a new stadium that's going to open up spring 2025. So it's not even going to matter. It's not even going to matter. I swear I'm going to remember it while we're talking, and I'm going to shout it out. But great season, absolutely fantastic season. Go RFC. Go RFC.
Yeah, I guess my reaction to that would be is if Ronaldo, Messi, Neymar ever come to like Rhode Island FC,
yeah,
like,
come on down. Well, Messi. I mean, I don't know. Messi. I don't know. I mean, Miami. I don't know how he's. I don't know what he wants to do. Ronaldo's got the bank. So Neymar. I don't know. I don't know what he's up to. Maybe Neymar. Maybe get Neymar up in here. All right, Eric. You have news for us about your career, your NBA journalism career. I'm going to put up a graphic here for you. But why don't you just get us started with what's happening right now?
Yeah. So as you can tell today, I am wearing a green Celtics sweatshirt.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, this may be my last time on the podcast wearing this green Celtics sweatshirt.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. But I do want to quickly reflect on my journalism career. So I did start out in 2020 covering the Houston Rockets for SB Nation. And I wrote for them from 2020 to about 2022, 2023. So I covered them during the tanking years with Jalen Green, getting Segun, and just like watching that team getting started up. And, back in 2023, about halfway through the NBA season, I actually started writing for the Boston Celtics for Sports Illustrated. So to be 23, 24 years old at the time and basically getting the keys to the kingdom, being this top voice in the Boston Celtics community and being able to represent them at such a high stage was awesome, incredible, and just a dream come true in general. So that was amazing. But unfortunately, after 2 seasons with the team and winning a championship, I will no longer be working for Sports Illustrated covering the Boston Celtics. So I will say a lot of good memories. I got to interview Drew Holiday, David Ortiz, Rick Grousbeck, Rick Barry, and so many other sports figures.
Yeah.
And it was just, awesome experience. But I really want to delve into how this came about.
Yeah.
So on Halloween.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, on Halloween.
It started there. Yeah.
I received a text from the manager at the time, the publisher. And I worked by his side, for the last year and a half. So it was really me and him covering the Boston Celtics, us, 2 people. He was kind of like the Jason Tatum figure. I was more the Jalen Brown, the diameter duo taking care of everything.
Yep.
But yeah, Bobby let me know on Halloween that he would no longer be affiliated with the site. And as a result, myself as well would be not affiliated with the site. So if you go now to Boston Celtics on SI, you're going to notice that the entire site is being covered by a team of journalists from Los Angeles.
Okay.
So what that means is that the reason why we were let go or cut from the team site is because despite winning the NBA championship, the Boston Celtics actually had the worst traction for Sports Illustrated.
Oh, wow.
So we're talking about like worse than the Pistons, worse than the Utah Jazz.
Yep.
Like our team site was the worst as far as viewership goes.
Okay.
So there had to be changes made in place. But essentially from, conversations I had and heard that in general, you notice that with sports journalism, they're really getting away from the beat writer, someone who is in the community covering the local team, going to games, interviewing stars. As a whole with the industry, they're really getting away from that model. And I feel like that is a really bad thing for the purpose of journalism. I feel like it's nice to have those grassroots writers in the room, making sure that we're getting good coverage and really just showing passionate voices behind the team you support. But in this case, we do have a team in Los Angeles who's covering the Lakers, Celtics, Heat, Wizards, whatever, and they're just doing this remote and not really being supporters of the team.
Yeah.
Um, so that's the thing with that. I will say that I actually did get offered a opportunity possibly to work with that team and still cover the Celtics.
Okay.
But I am an educator first. I work with in middle school as an ESL teacher.
Yeah.
And for me, that's my main goal, my main passion.
Yeah.
So as much as I enjoy being a sports writer, education comes first. And I appreciate the offer that they had. And I guess the last thing I want to throw in there is I did reach out to another very popular Boston Celtics site that also is media credentialed and very influential.
Yep.
And they told me that they had too many writers. So, I had a lot of good memories covering the Celtics.
Yep.
But unfortunately, I feel like I do want to continue my journalism career, but it's going to have to be with a different team.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, let's bring up this graphic again real quick. You've been doing this for a little bit now. 2020 to 2022, you were with the Houston Rockets. 2022, 2023, you transitioned from Houston to Boston, and then your recent time with Boston was this past year, and now we're unsure. So you told me off air that there's a couple teams though on the side that maybe you might come back into. You want to share those teams, the possibilities?
I'll float them out.
Okay, flow them out. Okay, yeah.
So this is like LeBron James decision part 2,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But of course, I still have my connections to the Houston Rockets.
Okay.
So that's a possibility. And actually, this morning, coincidentally, the same day as our podcast, I got an email from a very prominent New York Knicks team.
Okay. Yep.
So right now, I feel like my options right now are weighted between the Rockets and the Knicks. Right now,
Okay.
that's on the table.
Okay. I mean, look, you've got history with Houston. You've written a lot about them, and since you've started writing for them, they've ascended, right? Just like when the Barely Friends podcast started, the Boston Celtics won a championship, right? So I mean, it's like it's the same dynamic. But then Knicks, like big market, a lot of things to talk about. The whole cat edition, Mikal Bridges coming in, a lot of content there. So I mean, I think it's a win-win either way if you choose either of those teams. So yeah. Again, congrats. We're gonna like that you said, educator first. You're prioritizing that. But I believe your journalism career is not over for sure in any stretch of the imagination.
We're back.
Yeah, back in action for sure.
I'll give you guys an update too. Like you'll find out what I do. It just will take a week or two.
Sure, for sure. Great. All right, let's enter into our last segment here, which is our mailbag segment. We got a comment. We got a comment from a user. Their name is at @u_rider. Thanks for the comment. I have the comment right here. They say, thank you for covering Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Sorry, but that whole fight was sus. Agreed. I will say though, the woman earlier, the night was definitely interesting to watch. I give credit to the one who got injured because she pulled through while having the big gash on her head. Oof, with a oof emoji. Thank you for that. Yeah, that was a time, again, bringing that back. That was a time watching that live, watching that with friends. Just the fights before with I have them here, Katie Taylor who won, and Amanda Serrano who got the gash on her head. That was the best fight by far. Maybe the best boxing fight I've ever seen. I wanted to talk about that. That was interesting to us, and it was an event overall. It was an event, so we had to bring it up and talk about it to a degree.
I agree with the comment that I think we both shared last week or 2 weeks ago, and also the comment that you Ryder left us. I feel like the fight wasn't in the best nature, especially with Tyson being as old as he is and recently surviving like a life-threatening medical condition. So the fact that even like overcame that in itself and still fought is an achievement.
Yeah.
But as far as the fight itself, it probably didn't need to happen. Shouldn't have happened. We got a couple of good boxing matches, like you said, the women's fight. But the overall event itself, like, I don't know. I feel like he could have fought someone bigger, not bigger, but someone who's in prime shape.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is true. I kind of just scrolled through Facebook and saw this, but it looks like Jake Paul may be wanting to fight another boxer who was retired, but younger than Mike Tyson, like some 30-year-old veteran who's been out. I don't know if it's true. I just saw it. I just didn't look into it that much. But like you said, I kind of want to see him fight someone legit and see if he's an actual good boxer. Because right now, in my opinion, he's not. That's just me. But I don't know. Can't tell until he fights actual real boxers. So
Yeah, and I didn't get to answer the mailbag last week, but
yeah.
is there anyone who you would challenge currently, like in a boxing match?
Right.
This is on
Yeah.
tape, by the way.
Oh
like-
yeah. Well, here's what I thought of initially.
Yeah.
Because I'm such a hater for the Dallas Cowboys. So I wouldn't go. We can't do the old fight thing we just had. So I couldn't do the owner. Couldn't do Jerry Jones. That's bad. Obviously, if I'm going against the football players, I'm gonna get walloped, even if they don't know boxing because they're just bigger and stronger and tougher and faster. It's not happening.
Like the mascot,
maybe a fan, maybe a
Yeah,
fan,
fan.
maybe a Dallas fan, who I feel confident in that I don't have to beat them. I don't have to beat them. Make it a fight. Make it a good fight. As I'm not right now boxing, not doing any training. Like my brother, he's got it in the basement. He has his like own made punching bag, so he's ready. He's ready to fight Tyson or Paul soon. But for myself, I don't know. I want to be a little. I don't want to say someone and then, someone in the comments tags that person and then we go into Netflix part 2. I don't want that to happen. So we'll just say Cowboys fan. No one I know. Okay, no Cowboys fans I know, because I know you're probably gonna come at me. No one I know. Yeah. That's it. That's it. So
Yeah.
well, yeah.
maybe the mascot.
I don't
maybe.
want to fight anyone, man. I don't want to fight anyone.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
fair.
That's the end of the day for me. Well, that'll do it for this episode of the Barely Friends podcast. Again, next episode will be a special edition with not just one guest, because I only said one guest. I only said my friend Spencer. We'll have 2 guests. We're bringing back Ty as well. So the first time we're gonna have 4 people with us in our episode. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fun during the holiday season. But my name's Isaiah.
My name's Eric.
Thank you for watching. See you next time. Peace out.
If you ever take me off the shelf,